Hey Regis, thanks for joining us. So I just have a few questions today. It's some of it's about your career, some of it's about the future, combination
Mhm.
of both. So to start off, what made you want to start boxing?
Oh man, I realized I'm from New I came up in New Orleans and I just love fighting, bro. That's one thing I just love. Since I was young, I love fighting. I love to be. I fought on the street a lot. I fought first my first sparring partner was like my sister, my younger sister, and we always fought. And then it was like cousins, and then it was my friends. And being from where I'm from, being from New Orleans, like it's a part of our culture. It's like you have to fight, like we just that's what we do in schools, everything. It's just we come up in I wouldn't say a rough environment. It's just like it's just that's what it is. It's fun to fight for us. And then I was just always good at it. First I did karate, and I was too rough for karate, and so then I played football, and I love football. I was aggressive, and then after that I got to boxing, and I just never kind of turned back.
You found boxing kind of late, I think. I heard you say in the
I,
past.
yeah, I started around 16, 17. Yeah.
Okay,
hmm
okay. I think yeah, a lot of heavyweights start around that age, so it's a bit surprising. Like I think AJ started around 18 as well.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
so to see a lighter fighter like you start that late, it's definitely a bit unorthodox. Uh,
Mhm.
how did you get the nickname Rougarou? I see the mask in the back.
Yeah, the mask in the bag and stuff. Yeah. So really, I was like 4-0 or something like that, and at the time, I didn't have a nickname. It was just Regis Prograis, and it was my manager at the time, my trainer, and my dad was going back and forth on a nickname. And my trainers they were saying all kind of stuff. My one of my trainers he was like Rifle Regis Prograis. He was like, nah, that's terrible. We not doing that. And then what my manager at the time he was like Nola Knuckles and just saying a bunch of stuff. And then my dad said Rougarou, and we all was texting it. We was all on the group text at the time. And so my dad said Rugu, and then my manager at the time, he was like, "Man, that's it," and it kind of stuck. And this was when I was 4-0, and the first time and at first I'm not gonna, I didn't really like it myself. And then I wore the mask. My 10th fight, I fought in Houston, and I wore the mask. And when I did that, man, people loved it. Yeah, I came in the ring with a mask on. It's not the same mask right now, but I came with a mask on, and people loved it. And everybody's making like the wolf house. And when they did that, I was like, all right, this is it. I know this is gonna stick. And that's what we did ever since.
Definitely one of the probably most unique but also best nicknames in boxing. Who are some of the fighters you watched and admired growing up?
Man, my one of my first fights I ever watched, the first fights I ever watched growing up is like Arturo Gatti, and I love the Arturo Gatti style. Then after I got into, then I really started getting to boxing, really watching it more. Mike Tyson, Mike Tyson is one of my favorites. My idol was Mike Tyson, and then as I got into it more, I started really immersing myself in the history. And I'm a huge Duran fan. Like probably one of my probably I think my favorite fight ever is between Mike Tyson and Duran. Tyson, but it's I love Tyson, but he was never my weight. Duran was actually my weight at one point in time. So for me, I love Duran. I love his style. I just love how much of a savage he was. And then I found out that's Mike Tyson's favorite fighter. Is Duran. So between Roberto Duran and Mike Tyson, that's my two favorite fighters.
I think, yeah, like you said, Tyson also liked Duran. I think he was talking like how like Ali is like someone who's considered like, untouchable. Meanwhile,
Right.
Duran more you can relate to.
hmm
Um, and in your last fight that was going to come up with Oscar Duarte, uh, you had a shoulder injury. How are you recovering from that? And ideally, when would you want to be back in the ring?
I'm pretty much fully recovered now. It was a neck. It was kind of my neck and my shoulder, my left side of my neck and my shoulder. First it kind of happened in training, and then what happened really why I had to cancel the fight is like I had a bad fall at my house. So when I did that, I just told my coach at the time I fell. It was like man, Saturday night, Sunday morning, like 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and I fell. And it's like, bro, how did I fall? I don't know. I really don't. I never fell or nothing like that before, but I had a real bad fall. I hit the back of my head. I hit my elbow, my left side. And then after that, I texted my coach and was like, I told him what was going on. And, he told me at first I tried to sleep it off, and I could do that. Then I took some Tylenol, and the pain kind of went down a little bit, so I can so I can be able to sleep. And so the next day was a Monday, and we talked about it. I went to gym, and I was supposed to spar, but obviously I didn't. And then after I was like, man, like like we ran that night, and I was like, Bobby, my coach, I was like, bro, I don't know, this is real bad. I couldn't, like, I barely could turn my head, my neck and stuff. It was just real bad. And so then I went to the doctor that Tuesday, and I told the doctor what happened. I told him, listen, this was literally 2 weeks before the fight, a week and a half before the fight. And I told the doctor, look, I'm supposed to be fighting next week. He was like, hell, absolutely not. You cannot fight. I was all messed up. So then after that, I had to cancel the fight, and then I had to get what's that MRI, X-rays, and all that stuff, and see what's going on. Yeah, I think it was a pinched nerve, and they said it'll take a few weeks to heal. So that's kind of what I've been doing the whole time, is just like just getting healed, and now it should be fully. I mean, I still feel a little bit, but I I think I should be almost fully healed right now. I was just came back from Vegas. I was in Vegas like 2 days ago, and I was out there. I was training. I sparred, so I didn't feel nothing. So it should be good now.
So ideally, you'd want to be back in the ring, I guess, like in the coming months or so.
Yeah, I would think it's we in April right now, so hopefully maybe like June. If I can get back in June, I think that'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Does that Oscar Duarte fight still interest you?
Yeah, I still want to fight him. I mean, cause for me, like he said I was ducking him, and like, bro, I never ducked nobody in my career. Look at my resume. Look who I fought. You think I'm ducking Oscar Duarte? Absolutely not. So, yeah, I still would, want to fight him eventually. But yeah, hopefully I can get back in June, and we'll see what's going on.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a really good fight. And speaking of, I guess like future fights, do you see yourself staying at that junior welterweight, or would you like to ideally fight at welterweight? Because you've been at that weight like your entire career.
I did my whole career. Yeah. Right now, I mean, I'm just kind of being stuck basically back in the process right now. I'm actually reading a book and stuff right now about just being like, I don't want to really set goals for myself no more, because like one thing, I still love the sport. I still love boxing. So I just want to, like, for me, whatever happens, happens. Get the best fights, get the biggest fights, and get the right fights at the right time. So if I get a big opportunity at 140, then I'll do that. But yeah, I've been at 140 my whole career. So if something does come up at 147, then we'll just, I'll see. I'll talk to my team about it, because sometimes things just might pop up. Something might come up, and you be like, all right, let's go to 147. But something I always just had in mind, I always want to be a three-time world champion at 140. I know if I get a belt at 147, that's still considered three-time champion. But I always thought about, being a three-time world champion at 140. So, like, I feel like right now at the stage of my career, like, I just take it kind of day by day, and just still immerse myself and fall in love back in the process, instead of like worrying about, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm a just focus on getting the belt. I just want to, like I said, immerse myself back in the process and just love it again. Go back and be in love with the sport, and then whatever happens, happens.
You'd be the if you were to win the title a third time, you'd be the first person to win three titles at light welterweight.
I didn't know that. So
So
that mean I have to stay at one. That mean I have to stay
yeah,
at
yeah.
140. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mean, so now since you told me that, I think I would stay at 140.
Yeah,
Probably my whole
that would be
career.
pretty historic. Yeah, but if you ever to go up to welterweight, uh, Josh Taylor, one of your rivals, moved up there. Would you want to rematch with him, get your get back?
Yeah, eventually, yeah. I mean, I do. I think a Josh Taylor fight does interest me. I'm gonna see what he does at 147. But man, like, I'm more about history than everything else. About the get back and stuff like that. You kind of just let those things go. I feel like without a Josh Taylor, I wouldn't be a two-time world champion. So it's cool, and me and him can fight one day. But like, I ain't even know what you just said. That really interests me more than anything else. You literally said, if I be a champion again, that I'll be the only person that did that. So
Yeah.
if I can do that, that interests me way. It does interest me way more now.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That would be pretty historic. Speaking of light welterweight, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Times Square card? Any predictions? I think the fights are Tio Barboza, Devin Ramirez, and Ryan Fierro.
I think honestly with the Barboza deal, I feel like Barboza is gonna win. I felt like he was gonna beat Catterall. I did feel like that. Me and him, we talked a little bit online and stuff like that, and I did. He actually wanted me to come spar with him. I was like, bro, I can't spar with you, bro. Like, we might fight one day. I can't. I'm not gonna come spar with you. So, yeah, with that, I do feel like Barboza is gonna beat Tio, just because his mindset, he's really ready for him. He's not scared of Tio, and he's been wanting that fight for a long time. And I feel like sometimes you just step into your it might be timing, and I feel like right now the timing for Barboza is the right time. You know, he's on the hot streak, and I do feel like he's on the right time right now. So I do feel like Barboza is gonna be tilled. Um, Ramirez and Devin, I feel like both of them have pressure because Ramirez is at the end of his, he's at the end of his career right now, but I don't know him personally, but from what I hear, he's really, really focused on this fight. He's really, really, really focused. And both of them have a lot of pressure on him right now. Devin has the pressure because of the whole Ryan thing. You don't know how he's going to come back from it, and we'll see how great he is. If he could beat Ramirez, but at the same time, Ramirez has a lot of pressure too because this could be his last road for him. If he loses um to Devin, in a bad way, then it might be. I mean, I'm not gonna say the end of his road, but it'll bring him down, bring his stock down a little bit. And as far as Rolly and Ryan, oh man, I think that I feel like it's really whoever catch who first, whoever catches the first person, whoever catches who the first. But yeah, with that, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Of course, smart money would be Ryan, but I do think Ryan is so worried about Devin, and I think Devin is so worried about Ryan, to where like, and sometimes you look forward and it kind of messes you up in your process, like what is going on right now. So, um, I would still say Ryan, but I think Rolly has the power. He could catch him and do something. And I know they know each other. They sparred before, and what I saw, it looked like Rolly got in Ryan's ass a little bit. So. I still say Ryan, but I wouldn't be surprised if Rolly catches him.
Yeah, like I mean, I remember back when Rolly fought Tank, he was decisively beating Tank before obviously the knockout came.
Mhm.
Um, so a big piece of news recently in the boxing world is the new TKO boxing league. What are your thoughts on that? And could you see yourself potentially joining that in the future?
Man, honestly, bro, it's like I said, it's about the process and it's about the money. Whatever. Let's see what they're offering. I don't know. We'll just see. I'll have to. I don't know nothing about it right now, but maybe it might stir things up. Maybe it might make things good. Maybe it might make things bad. So, yeah, we'll just see. I don't. For me, I'm just what I want to do is just stay in the gym and let my manager take care of everything else.
That's good. That's good. So many tournaments are also being talked about right now in boxing, but I'd say you were probably in the last great boxing tournament, the World Boxing Super Series. What was your
Mhm.
experience of that tournament? Like, did things work smoothly for you as a fighter? And are there any fighters that could be made from boxing tournaments like that from a fighter's standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, for me at that time, it was a real great opportunity. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like it was just good for. It was just when I participated in that, man, like that was paying astronomical money, for fighters, and like so it was real good for me. And I was at the point in my life at that time, my career, that nobody wanted to fight me, nobody was gonna fight me. So it was a real good thing because I would probably never would have got a shot at the belt. If it wasn't for that league, it was a thing that you had to fight you win, you fight, you win, you fight. And so I had 3 fights in the tournament. So, and like I said, I probably would have never got a shot at the belt if it wasn't for that league. People would have ducked me forever. At the time, nobody wanted to fight me. So I became a champion and I made a lot of money with that. So at that time, I loved it.
Hmm. Do you think you had the toughest path to the final? I mean, I was looking back at it the other day. You faced Terry Flanagan, who literally
Mhm.
just lost his WBO title before, and he was still very much in his prime.
Mhm.
Redlick, who was the WBA champ, and obviously Josh Taylor, who went on to become undisputed.
Yeah, at that time, yeah. Well, I mean, my thing was, I definitely did, man. I definitely had the hardest path to become a champion because you look at who did Josh Taylor. I mean, Josh Taylor, he had an easy fight. The first fight, I had Terry Flanagan, which was a champion, and I had him, and then after that, Relic was already a champion, but Josh Taylor, he had. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot the dude's name, but he had an easy fight, the first fight. Then the second fight was kind of hard. I went to the second fight with Baranchek, and then of course, the fight with me. But I definitely had I had a hard road at the time, but it paid off. I loved it. I liked it.
Yeah, yeah. I think Taylor fought Ryan Martin, I think his name was.
Ryan Martin, yeah, Ryan Martin, exactly. Then Baranchek.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what was it like bringing back a big event to your home in New Orleans at this Movie King Center against Zorilla? And would you want to fight again in New Orleans before your
Yeah,
career?
for sure. I definitely want to fight New Orleans again, but right now, like I just think my pad is it's back on the it's on the West Coast now. You know, I've been training in Houston. I've been doing things, the same for a while, and I feel like, man, like now it's time to just take the show on the road, go back on the West Coast, train out there, maybe even fight out there, and then yeah, eventually go back to New Orleans and do something out there. But it's just right now, it's just not the time. I think that'll be historic. If I don't want to say if, but like when I become a champion again for the third time, that'll be something very historic for me. And I didn't even know until you told me that'll be something nobody's ever did it before. So if I can do that, that'll be super super historic. And then after that, I can do a big fight in New Orleans and then kind of right off into the sunset.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, so who would you say was the hardest puncher you've ever fought in your career?
Um, Let me see. The hardest puncher, probably at the time it was probably Relic. Relic hit me with a shot, and I never been hit that hard before, in my life. So I think Relic probably was at the time. Um, I think Relic was probably the hardest puncher so far, because I like the thing is, man, all of them kind of hit hard. Like you don't really. The thing is, man, like you don't really. When you get hit by a hard punch, you don't really feel it. That's the thing. People don't understand that. Like when you get it, you don't actually feel the punch because like your senses will kind of just they'll go out for a second. Like you can black out and stuff. Like that's why you see people get knocked out and stuff. Like they don't feel those punches. Your body will just your the human body is so remarkable to where like it'll just shut down before it feels that pain. It'll just shut down. So that's why a lot of people they don't feel like the headshots. You'll feel like a body shot. That's why body shots hurt worse because you still conscious and you can feel it. But as in the head, when you get hit in the headshot, man, your body will shut down. But I remember with the Relic fight, he hit real hard. He was just heavy handed. That was the thing. That's why I didn't let him hit me a lot. I moved my head a lot. I didn't really let him hit me a lot. So I think that was probably one of the hardest punches. And I fought somebody when I think a dude named Felipe Reyes. Nobody would probably know him not right now, but it was like my seventh fight and I fought him, and it was at 147 back in the day. And I remember, the only thing I do remember from the fight, it was a 6 round fight, and I dropped him in the first round, and he got up, and we just fought. We just fought the whole time, and I stopped him in the 6th round, but I don't remember nothing between that. From the first round to the 6th round, I don't remember nothing between. We just fought, so he was a real big puncher.
What would you say was the toughest fight in your career?
Josh Taylor for sure. I think for me, Josh Taylor was the best fight I fought. I think for sure Josh Taylor was the at the time. Maybe he might be declining right now, but I think Josh Taylor was the for sure the best fighter I've been in the ring with. Well,
Did
as far as a real fight,
did Devin give where would Devin be on that list, would you say?
honestly, brother, Devin. Devin was good, and yeah, Devin blew me out, but it was more. I feel like it was more me mentally wasn't there than it was Devin. Like Devin. He dropped me and stuff, but Devin didn't have like no power. Devin really didn't have no power at all. But he was a real good, slick, fast boxer. He can move with his feet. I feel like Devin, skill wise, Devin is up there. But at the time when I fought Josh Taylor, I feel like he was probably the best fighter that I fought at that time.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And what would you say is the favorite moment of your career? You definitely have a few, winning the world title once, winning it again,
Mhm.
various different not victories.
Um, Man, it was probably two moments. Of course, the Zepeda fight when I won the title for the second time, that was a big thing to me. And um, it might sound Tyson said this too, but like when you get dropped and you get back up and it's like that's I'm kind of really proud of that with the Jack Catterall fight, because he hit me with a clean shot and I just bounced right back up. He hit me right here, boom, and like I bounced right back up, and it didn't do nothing to me. And I'm like, I just know. I know I got that dog in me, but it shows everybody like I can like nothing's gonna hurt me, and I'm gonna get up no matter what happens. I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna get up, and I don't know if you know or not like that, but I actually my ankle was real messed up in that fight. I sprained my ankle real bad. I think the fourth or fifth, whatever it was, I sprained my ankle bad in the fight, and I just kept fighting on. So I'm proud of myself for that, even though I lost the fight. Like and I got caught and all that stuff, but I was literally fighting hurt and I finished the fight and I tried and I still kept trying to catch him, but I couldn't. But I kept trying no matter what.
You did a good job of hiding it because I think most of the spectators, we really start to notice it near the end of the fight, when your legs start to get a little fucked up.
Yeah, yeah, I messed my knee up and my ankle. It was my knee and my ankle, my right knee and my right ankle. But The ankle was real bad. I barely can walk when I like literally I took my shoe off and it blew up. I should have kept the shoe on in the back when I was getting by the doctor, but it was like I took it off and it like kind of blew up and it was real bad and yeah,
Okay. And if you could fight any fighter from any era, probably around your weight, who do you want that to be?
Duran, my favorite fighter. Duran. Either Duran or like somebody like Henry. Probably Duran, Floyd, or like Henry Armstrong. I think that I think there was those would all been like real tough fights. But I definitely fight Floyd just because how smart he was. I would want to be in the ring with somebody like that because when you get in the ring with somebody that's levels above, you learn so much from them. And that's how I learned a lot. I started sparring a lot of people that's just way better. So I learned a lot. So I think Floyd for his boxing IQ. Duran kind of the same thing, but he had way more power. Duran had a big boxing IQ, but he had a lot of power also. And somebody like Henry Armstrong, just because he just kept coming, he just never stopped coming at all. He just kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. He kept fighting you. So those three fights I would love to share the ring with.
Henry Armstrong was a tough fighter, man. Like I was watching some of his clips the other day. Do you think that style would work nowadays? Because like obviously we see all these old fighters, they have some unique styles, like, and no one really knows how well it will translate.
I think it would on certain people. I think somebody like a Floyd, it probably wouldn't work because now, like back in the day, those fighters they didn't have that much. They didn't move a lot. There was most of them was just tough, real tough fighters. So when you had somebody that could move, they always disrupted things. Like Sugar Ray Robinson at the time, he was above his he was just way above his. Uh, yeah, at the time, Ray Robinson was just like way past his time just because well before his time, way before his time, just because he can move his feet. That's what Ali did too. Ali was so good because he was a heavyweight that he wanted to be like Sugar Ray Robinson. So um but now a lot of fighters they fight the same way. Like a Devin, they move their feet a lot, they move around. Floyd, Devin, Pernell Whitaker, Zab Judah, they move their feet, so they're not gonna stay there. So I don't know how, Henry Armstrong would have did today, but I think in any era he would have been a tough fight, but it depends. And then back in the day they did have 15 rounds, and today they do have 12 rounds. So it will be he would have to get to somebody in 12 rounds, and I think it'll be a little harder, especially with the guys now this era. The feet are better.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And yeah, like I mean that's what's also really interesting I feel is also like there's so many great fighters who have very unique styles, but that style can't always be taught. Like Roy
Yeah.
Jones Jr., he's trained some great fighters, but not every fighter is going to be Roy.
Now, well, this thing you got to realize, man. Like a boxing style. One of my coaches told me a boxing style is like your fingerprint. It's only one on one ever. That's it. So you literally can't teach that. You can teach the fundamentals, the basics, and all that. But Roy cannot teach nobody to be him. Same thing. Floyd can't teach nobody to be him. Ali couldn't teach nobody to be him. Tyson couldn't teach nobody to be him. Same thing. Floyd. Nobody can teach nobody to be them. You are one to one. You can do all the basics and stuff, but everybody is special in their own right. So you just that's just how it is.
Okay, and thank you very much. Just my last question is there anything you'd like to promote? You recently released a book, I remember.
Yeah, I have a book. What my book at? I got a bunch of them. Let me see. Hold on. One of the oh yeah. Ugh. Yeah, books, stories and lessons by Regis program. It shows of course we have the whole New Orleans thing coming from New Orleans. That was kind of struggle. I'm definitely one of the only people that ever did that coming from Hurricane Katrina, leaving Houston, me leaving New Orleans and then coming to Houston and doing all that relocating and stuff and then becoming a champion then and not only becoming a champion becoming a two-time champion and yeah, that's it. And it's just a lot of for me just a lot of things I just kind of went through like the title saying by itself, stories and lessons, all the stories I had and all the lessons I've been going through. And still we actually working on part two right now, but just just everything I kind of all the stuff I kind of been through and all the stuff I'm going through and in this book it has like funny story, inspirational, funny, sad, and just all those type of stories, all the stuff I kind of went through.
That's very interesting. It's linked in your Instagram, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, it's on my Instagram. Yeah.
thank you very much for your time today, champ, and stay safe.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one, bro.